Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We dive deep into the hidden treasures lying right within your pocket change, the fascinating world of coins that look ordinary at first glance but are secretly worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And today's focus is on an astonishing example, the 1992 A.D. Lincoln 1-cent coin, a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that, in some very specific and rare instances, has been known to fetch as much as $293, or even more depending on its condition, rarity, and error type, making it an incredible subject of interest for collectors, enthusiasts, and even everyday people who just might have one sitting at the bottom of a jar in their kitchen. Because what makes this penny so intriguing and valuable is not just its age or mint mark, but a unique blend of errors and rare varieties that elevate its worth far beyond its face value. And it all begins with the fact that 1992 was a transitional year in coin production, a time when the United States Mint was in the process of adjusting certain design elements on the Lincoln cent, particularly the spacing between the letters in the phrase "America" on the reverse side of the coin. And while the standard 1992 penny was supposed to feature the wide AM design, meaning the letters A and M in America were spaced slightly apart, a small number of coins, estimated to be only a few dozen or so, were mistakenly struck with a reverse die intended for the 1993 cent, which introduced the close AM design. And this seemingly minor difference has a huge impact on value because it reveals a minting error, a deviation from what was supposed to be the standard design for that year, making such coins extremely rare and sought after by collectors who recognize the importance of transitional errors. And the 1992 A.D. close AM penny is one of the rarest and most desirable modern Lincoln cent varieties. And while most people may pass over this coin without a second glance, thinking it to be worth just a cent, experienced numismatists know to look closely at the reverse design under magnification, checking the proximity of the A and M in America as well as other diagnostics like the initials of the designer, FG for Frank Gasparo, which may also appear slightly differently positioned or less defined due to the use of an incorrect die. And what makes this even more interesting is the Denver mint mark, the little d, under the date on the obverse, which signifies that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, where far fewer of the error close AM varieties were struck compared to their Philadelphia counterparts, thus compounding the rarity and increasing its value even more. And in circulated condition such a coin might still command hundreds of dollars, but if discovered in uncirculated or high mint state condition, the value can rise dramatically depending on eye appeal, luster, and the presence or absence of contact marks or wear. And coin grading agencies such as PCGS or NGC play a huge role in authenticating and certifying the error, often sealing these coins in tamper-proof slabs that display their grade and verifying their status as genuine 1992 A.D. close AM varieties. And over time, as more people become aware of this variety, demand has grown, especially among collectors who are determined to complete their Lincoln cent varieties collections, making it harder and harder to find an example in the wild. So even though the error was created decades ago, the hunt continues today, often among rolls of pennies from the bank or old family coin jars. And aside from the close AM issue, other types of errors on the 1992 A.D. penny that can affect value include die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies come together without a coin planchette between them, resulting in ghost-like images appearing where they shouldn't be, or off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned during minting, causing part of the design to be missing, or even double dies, where a misalignment during the hubbing process causes doubled features, often visible in the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile. Though these varieties are significantly rarer in 1992 A.D. cents compared to other years, they are still worth watching for. And then there are planchette errors, such as wrong metal strikes where a penny may have been struck on a planchette intended for a dime or foreign coin. And although rare, these mistakes have happened before and always carry a premium, and sometimes the smallest anomalies, such as die chips, cracks, or cuds, caused by damage or deterioration to the die, can also attract collector interest depending on how dramatic or unusual the effect is. And when it comes to value, condition is king, with a coin graded MS65 or higher always being worth far more than one that's been heavily circulated. And because the 1992 D close AM penny was not widely known until years after its minting, most were released into circulation and likely show signs of wear today. making high-grade examples even more elusive and valuable. And what's especially fascinating is that the US Mint has never confirmed exactly how many of these error coins exist, so each new discovery adds to the mystery and allure, fueling speculation and driving up interest. And although they are listed in coin price guides and auction catalogs, prices vary widely based on demand, visibility of the error, and the coin's condition, with some certified examples selling for over $1,000 in auctions. In exceptional grades, but for many hobbyists, even a circulated piece found in pocket change can represent an incredible windfall and a story to tell, and it goes to show just how complex and nuanced coin collecting can be, where subtle design shifts like the distance between two letters can spell the difference between a common coin and a small fortune, and this speaks to the broader excitement in numismatics, where history, art, and detective work all come together in a thrilling hunt for errors, varieties, and rare issues. So if you're looking through your change and happen to find a 1992 D penny, don't spend it just yet. Check the back, look closely at America, and see if the A and M are almost touching, because you might just be holding one of the rarest Lincoln cents of the modern era, a coin that many seasoned collectors spend years searching for. And even if you don't find one right away, the process of searching itself opens the door to learning, discovering, and appreciating the intricacies of minting, engraving, and error detection, not to mention the stories these coins can tell about the eras in which they were struck, the machinery that made them, and the people who design, produce, and collect them. And while $293 may seem like a modest sum compared to some of the six-figure coins out there, it represents an astonishing return on something most people see as almost worthless. And it underscores the importance of knowledge, patience, and attention to detail when it comes to finding hidden value in everyday items. So as you continue to explore your own collection or start building one from scratch, remember that even a single cent, especially a 1992 D penny with a close AM reverse, can be a ticket into a world of history, mystery, and monetary reward, making it one of the most compelling examples of how an error coin can transform the mundane into the magnificent. And that's the magic of coin collecting, where even the tiniest piece of metal can become a prized possession, a collector's dream, and perhaps even a life-changing discovery, all waiting for someone like you to spot the difference, make the connection, and realize the hidden potential of what others overlook. Because in this hobby, knowledge isn't just power, it's profit, passion, and the path to uncovering the extraordinary within the ordinary. And that's why the 1992 D close AM penny, especially one that can command a price like $293, remains a shining example of what makes modern coin variety so endlessly captivating, and why it deserves a place not only in price guides and auction blocks but also in your collection and maybe even in your pocket right now, ready to be recognized and appreciated for all the tiny details and fortunate mistakes that make it something far more than just a penny. Next, 1976 1-cent USA coin lovers, rare currency enthusiasts, and treasure seekers, to another exciting episode on our channel, where we dive deep into the hidden world of coins worth far more than their face value, a world where something as small as a 1-cent coin can turn into a collector's dream worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And today we're zooming in on one specific coin that has taken the numismatic community by storm, the 1976 1-cent coin, which, despite its humble beginnings and unassuming copper-plated appearance, has been known to fetch prices as high as $287 due to a series of rare errors and mistakes that occurred during its minting process, making it a highly sought-after gem among collectors and hobbyists who are always on the lookout for the next undervalued treasure hiding in plain sight. And we're going to break down everything that makes this particular penny so valuable, from the specific types of errors found, to the conditions that contribute to its high market worth, the minting anomalies, the types of striking issues, the variations in die usage, and everything else that has contributed to this coin's transformation from a simple copper piece meant for everyday transactions into a collector's item of significant value. And let's begin by understanding the broader context in which the 1976 penny was minted, as 1976 was a notable year in American history because it marked the bicentennial celebration of the United States. And while the penny didn't receive the bicentennial treatment like the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins, which got special reverse designs, the 1-cent coin still played its part in circulating American symbolism and unity, and even though the reverse still featured the iconic Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparro and the obverse retained the classic Lincoln bust designed by Victor David Brenner, some striking irregularities and mistakes slipped through the stringent quality control protocols of the US Mint, and these errors are precisely what contribute to the coin's substantial value in today's collector markets, and among the most notable and sought-after errors in the 1976 penny are double die obverse errors, which occur when the die used to strike the coin has been improperly manufactured, resulting in a doubling of the image that appears on the coin. And this doubling is often visible in areas like the date, the word liberty, or the famous motto "In God We Trust." And if the doubling is significant and clear to the naked eye, the value of the coin can skyrocket since double die coins are among the most prized errors in numismatics, and collectors often compete aggressively to obtain well-preserved examples of such coins. And moving on from double dies, another valuable error that has been found in 1976 pennies is off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned with the dies when it is struck, resulting in a coin where the design is shifted to one side, sometimes leaving a crescent-shaped blank area on the coin, and the degree of the off-center strike greatly affects the value, with coins that are struck 5 to 10% off-center being interesting but not necessarily valuable, while coins struck 50% or more off-center, especially those that still display the date clearly, can fetch hundreds of dollars depending on condition and rarity. And then we have broad strike errors, which occur when the retaining collar that holds the coin in place during striking malfunctions or is missing altogether, leading to a coin that is wider and flatter than normal with a distorted rim, and 1976 pennies with broad strike errors are rare, and the rarity contributes significantly to their desirability among collectors. And then there's the classic but always exciting clipped planchette error, which happens when the blank metal disc that becomes the coin is improperly cut from the metal strip, resulting in a coin that looks like it has a bite taken out of it, and clipped planchets can be curved, straight, or even ragged depending on how the clipping occurred, and clipped planchette 1976 pennies in excellent condition with prominent clips and full dates are definitely worth more than face value and can push the value of the coin into the 3-digit range. And the 1976 penny also has examples of strike-through errors, where foreign material such as grease or debris gets in between the die and the planchette during the striking process, causing a portion of the design to appear missing or faded. And although strike-through errors are often subtle, in dramatic cases they can greatly increase the coin's appeal to error collectors. And let's not forget about die cracks and die breaks, which occur when the die used to strike the coin begins to wear out or crack under pressure, leading to raised lines or blobs of metal on the surface of the coin. And although minor die cracks are common and not particularly valuable, significant die breaks that cause dramatic visual features like retained cut breaks can boost a coin's desirability and price. And then there are transitional errors, which occur when the composition or design of a coin changes between years and a coin is accidentally struck using the wrong planchette, although this is more common in years when the mint officially changes metal composition or designs. So while 1976 is not traditionally a transitional year for the penny, oddities have still been reported, including potential instances where pennies were struck on foreign or misidentified planchets, such as dimes or other foreign coin stock, which can be identified by weight and size anomalies, and those errors, while exceedingly rare, can be immensely valuable. And if that wasn't enough, the 1976 penny also sometimes displays what's known as a doubled ear variety, where Lincoln's ear appears doubled or shadowed due to a die error, and though not as famous as the 1984 doubled ear penny, collectors still keep an eye out for 1,976 examples with this type of anomaly. And now let's talk about the role that condition and grading play in elevating the value of a 1976 penny, because while error type is crucial, the coin's overall appearance, or grade, is just as important, and coins that are in mint state, MS, condition, especially MS 65 or higher, are worth considerably more than circulated examples. And if a 1976 penny with an error also has full original red color and no significant marks or wear, its value can multiply several times, especially if it has been professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC, and even coins in slightly lower grades can hold impressive value if the error is bold and dramatic. And in today's coin market, a combination of rarity, condition, and uniqueness drives price, so the more unusual the error and the better preserved the coin, the higher the dollar amount it can command. and that brings us to an important point about authentication and market trends, because with rising interest in coin collecting thanks to social media and online marketplaces, demand for certified error coins has never been higher, and this applies especially to older coins like the 1976 penny, which are now approaching 50 years in age, and as more of these coins are removed from circulation and placed into private collections, their scarcity increases, pushing prices higher. And this is why even a $287 sale price for a 1976 penny is not just possible, it's becoming more common for high-quality, dramatic error examples. And let's also touch on the sentimental and historical appeal of the coin, as 1976 being the bicentennial year adds a psychological premium to items from that time, as collectors are often drawn to anything bearing a connection to that iconic year. So even though the penny didn't get a special design, its date alone makes it desirable for bicentennial-themed sets, and when combined with one or more striking errors, the value climbs even higher. And beyond all that, there's the fun of treasure hunting, the joy collectors experience when they discover a rare variation in a handful of change or inherited coin collection, and the 1976 penny represents one of those exciting possibilities where an everyday object becomes a link to history and a source of real-world value. And because there's still a significant number of 1976 pennies floating around in circulation and tucked away in jars and drawers, the hunt is far from over, and chances are that some of the most valuable ones have yet to be discovered, meaning the opportunity is still out there for sharp-eyed collectors and enthusiasts to find a penny worth far more than a cent. And to sum it up, the 1976 1-cent coin may look like any other copper penny at first glance, but hidden among its ranks are coins with double die obverse errors, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, strike-throughs, die cracks, die breaks, and even planchette anomalies. And these errors, when combined with high-grade preservation, create the perfect storm for collectability and value, often turning a 1-cent piece into something that commands well over $287 in the right market conditions. And that's why it's essential for collectors to pay attention to details, examine coins carefully, get potential finds professionally appraised or graded, and stay informed about what makes each error unique and desirable, because every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth a lot more than just pocket change. And that concludes our deep dive into the mysterious and exciting world of the 1976 penny, a coin that proves small things can hold big value. And if you enjoyed this journey into numismatic discovery, stick around for more fascinating finds, because every coin has secrets, and here, we love uncovering them with you. Last 2016 D1 cent USA coin. Rare coins turn everyday pocket change into treasure troves of hidden value, and today we're diving deep into the story of the 2016 D Lincoln 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, enthusiasts, and everyday Americans alike by reaching an astonishing value of up to $236, all due to its unusual errors, unexpected flaws, and rare characteristics that have made it one of the standout modern pennies in numismatic circles. And while the year 2016 might not seem distant or ancient in the scope of coin history, what has happened in the minting process at the Denver Mint that year has created several varieties and error-struck coins so unique and fascinating that they have become highly sought after by collectors and appraisers alike. And in this video we will unravel layer after layer of reasons why this specific penny, yes, a 1-cent piece that you might overlook at first glance, could be worth more than 200 times its face value and continues to climb in demand among collectors and investors who know what to look for. And as we begin this numismatic journey, let's talk about the historical context of the 2016 D Lincoln cent, a coin that belongs to the Shield Reverse series first introduced in 2010, which replaced the previous Lincoln Memorial design and has since featured Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait on the obverse with the Union Shield on the reverse. And although billions of these coins were minted and continue to circulate widely, certain examples stand apart because of their rarity-inducing mistakes that include doubling, die cracks, off-center strikes, plating blisters, and more, each of which contributes in its own way to the unique monetary worth of an otherwise lowly penny. And starting with the most well-known of these errors, we find the double die obverse, often abbreviated as DDO, which occurs when the coin's die, the metal stamp used to strike the coin, impresses a slightly shifted or rotated second image during manufacture, and collectors have found 2016 D pennies with very noticeable doubling on Lincoln's eye, lips, chin, the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," and these doubled details stand out under magnification and in some cases are visible to the naked eye, increasing desirability exponentially, especially in uncirculated or mint state condition. And such double die errors often result from minor misalignments during the hubbing process at the mint, where multiple impressions are made to form a single working die, and if even one impression is slightly off, the resulting coin will display these doubled features and turn what should have been a common penny into a prized possession, and this alone has pushed certain 2016 D specimens with clear doubling to sell at auctions and online marketplaces for over $200 depending on condition. But that's only the beginning, because other varieties of errors also play a vital role in determining the true value of a coin, and the 2016 D penny is rich with such errors, including die cracks, which happen when the die itself begins to wear out or fracture after striking many thousands of coins, and when these cracks appear, they get transferred onto the coin surface as raised, jagged lines that can stretch across Lincoln's face or even across the shield design on the reverse, and while such cracks may seem minor at first glance, dramatic die cracks, or so-called cuds, where a piece of the die breaks away completely and leaves a blob-like raised area on the coin, are extremely collectible because they are literally pieces of mint history, showing the wear and tear of machinery under pressure, and each die crack is unique, almost like a fingerprint, making each affected coin a one-of-a-kind artifact, and depending on the size, location, and visibility of the die crack or cud, prices can range from $20 for minor ones to over $236 or more for dramatic examples, especially if the coin is in good condition otherwise. And in addition to die cracks, one of the most fascinating and eye-catching errors found on 2016 D cents is the off-center strike, an error where the coin blank or planchette is not properly aligned with the striking dies, causing the design to be imprinted off to one side, sometimes cutting off parts of Lincoln's face or the shield entirely. And while minor off-center strikes of 1 to 5% are not very valuable, coins with a 50% off-center strike or more, especially those where the date is still visible, can command values from $100 up to and even beyond $236, and these off-center coins are dramatic and visually striking, which makes them popular not just among serious collectors but also casual enthusiasts and people new to the hobby. And another layer of errors comes in the form of planchette flaws, which can include clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a misfeed in the blank cutting process, or plating blisters, which result from improper bonding of the zinc core to the copper plating during manufacture, creating raised bubbles or ripples that distort the coin surface and make each flawed example distinct and collectible. And 2016 D cents with prominent plating blisters, particularly those affecting Lincoln's face or the shield design, often sell for $50 to $100 and up depending on severity and visibility. And collectors often seek out these imperfections not just for their monetary value but because they represent tangible evidence of how coins are made, and sometimes, how things go wrong in that process. And yet another exciting discovery among 2016 D pennies includes strike-through errors, which happen when foreign materials, like grease, wire, or fragments, get between the die and the planchette during striking, leaving behind impressions or gaps in the design, and these strike-throughs can be subtle or dramatic. But the most dramatic and well-positioned strike-throughs have sold for hundreds of dollars, with $236 being a mid-range value for highly visible examples, especially those affecting the central portrait or main design elements. And another possibility comes in the form of misaligned dies or tilted dies, which result in coins with uneven or partial design transfer, creating what looks like lopsided or off-kilter appearances that draw the eye and generate interest from error collectors. And although not every misalignment is valuable, those that result in dramatic design shifts or show part of the design missing or doubled can escalate in value significantly. And furthermore, the importance of grade and condition cannot be overstated when it comes to valuing a 2016 D penny, as a mint state MS example with an error is always worth more than one that has circulated heavily and shows wear. And professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC have authenticated and graded numerous 2016 D error cents, some of which have achieved values far exceeding $236. Especially when errors are paired with high-grade preservation, and that combination of rarity, uniqueness, and condition creates a trifecta of desirability. And it's not just mechanical or accidental errors that create value, sometimes transitional or design-related quirks also come into play. And while the Shield reverse design has remained relatively stable since its 2010 debut, changes in font thickness, spacing, and minor die modifications can create varieties, which are like unofficial subtypes of a year's coin, and these varieties, while not true errors, still attract collector attention, especially when catalogued by numismatic databases and guidebooks. And a 2016 AD with a known variety plus an error, like a double die plus a die crack or off-center strike, becomes exponentially more valuable, sometimes reaching the $236 mark or higher simply because of the combination of factors that makes it not just one rare penny, but several types of rarity all wrapped into one copper-plated zinc disc. And it's also important to consider that in addition to visible flaws and mistakes, some 2016 AD pennies are valued higher because they were part of specific rolls, mint sets, or bulk lots that included other varieties, which makes them more attractive when resold, especially to bulk dealers or collection builders seeking to complete a comprehensive modern Lincoln Cent error set. And as interest in modern era coins has grown thanks to social media, YouTube, online auction platforms, and increased public awareness of numismatics, the value of coins like the 2016 AD penny with errors continues to appreciate, and what was once considered a curiosity by only the most dedicated coin hunters is now a booming submarket of collectible currency, and even minor mint flaws can now be the gateway to finding a small fortune in your spare change. So whether it's a dramatic doubling, a huge die crack, an outrageous off-center strike, a clipped or blistered planchette, a struck through coin, or a strange but fascinating misalignment, the 2016 AD penny has proved itself as a modern marvel of numismatic value, and each of these imperfections represents not a failure, but an opportunity for collectors to own a piece of minting history, for casual hobbyists to experience the thrill of discovery, and for everyday people to find something of great worth in the most unexpected place. And with more examples still being discovered, catalogued, graded, and sold each year, the story of the 2016 AD 1 cent coin and its value of $236 due to errors and mistakes is far from over, so keep checking your change, inspect those pennies with care, look at the date, the mint mark, the features under light and magnification, because you never know when a seemingly ordinary coin in your hand might turn out to be a collector's dream and a potential payday. And in the exciting world of coin collecting, it's these stories of surprise and overlooked value that keep the thrill alive and remind us that history,